Hi everyone, welcome. This is Data Meaning's Alteryx Server video. We'll be covering the main reasons why you should use Alteryx Server. My name is Erich Shiino and I'm a manager at the Data Meaning's enablement team. I've been working with Alteryx platform for more than 6 years and with business intelligence and analytics for more than 12. I currently have Alteryx Designer, Server, Connect, and Partner certifications. Let's get started. In this video, I will cover an Alteryx overview and then the main reasons why people use Alteryx Server, which are sharing and collaboration, workflow scheduling and automation, scalability, and governance. Alteryx is an analytics platform automation that delivers end-to-end workflows. You can bring data from anywhere, files, databases, APIs, websites. You can do data prep, data blending. It can enrich your data. You can create your own analysis and reports. You can also cover more advanced use cases such as geospatial analytics, data science, auto machine learning, and natural language processing. You can output your data, your results to files, databases, data visualization platforms, or you can create reports and send emails, all in a single workflow. So, you've been using Alteryx Designer for some time, and then you think, what's next? I'm going to show you how to connect Alteryx Designer to the server and then publish your workflows there. You start from Alteryx Designer, you go to the menu and save it. But instead of your computer, you add a gallery, which means the server interface. Then you add the URL, and then you pass the parameters to save that workflow into the server, and that's how you publish the workflow there. After you publish your workflow, you can view it in a web browser, like this. And from that web browser, you can just run it, you can download it to your computer, or you can schedule those workflows. Those are the main interactions with the workflow from the Alteryx server. Let me show you how to run the workflow. You're going to press Run here. And in this case, I have an analytic app, and we can pass parameters before the execution. In other cases, you just press Run, and it's going to start. In this case, we can select a store, pick how many customers we're going to analyze, and press Run. After this, Alteryx is going to run that and show you the results in a web report. Or you can also download that report in different formats, such as PDFs or Excel files. This brings us to the first main reason why people use Alteryx Server, which is sharing and collaboration. We saw how we can deploy the Alteryx workflows at the server. Now let us see how we can share those workflows with others and how we can collaborate on those same workflows. There are different levels and ways to do it. First, you can share the Alteryx workflow with your team and you can collaborate to build and improve it. Then you can share that workflow with the whole company. And on top of that, you also have version control with the ability to save multiple versions, roll back to a previous one, and select the version that will be available for other users' executions. Let us see an overview of the whole process. First, the user will have the workflow that he uploaded to the server associated with him, and then he can share that workflow with others through collections. Those selected, authorized users will be able to run it, download it, and improve those workflows. You can organize the collections, for example, by department or by the type of data that their workflows are using on those analyses. And then you can also share those workflows at the company gallery, and every user from the company will be able to run those and use those analytical apps. Of course, you can control which users from your company are going to access the company gallery. And the workflows at the company gallery can be organized into districts, and this structure will help users to find the right assets based on department, business needs, or the type of analysis. And as we also mentioned, the server provides the version control feature, and in the same page where you can run your workflows, where you can see those, you can see which version is the published one, but you can also take a look at the version history. You can see previous versions, the authors, the creation date, the Alteryx designer version that created those workflows, and you can select another version and make that the published one. You can also, as the author, run previous versions or just download the workflow to create a new version based on an older one.
Now, let us talk about scheduling and automation, which is one of the main reasons why people use Alteryx Server, because they need to automate the process and schedule their workflows. Let us start with the why. Why is automation important? First, we have the challenge that data workers have less than 11 hours per week to actually interpret data and generate insights. Most of their time is spent with operational tasks related to data, such as data gathering and data prep. And automation will address this issue. Next, we have the focus of the CEOs that are looking for more agility, and 77% of them report they are more focused on operational efficiencies than in new products or services. And we can also focus on the people and develop more talent. Most of the employees say that automation will improve job satisfaction, mostly because they can focus on things that generate more value. So let us see how the scheduling works from Alteryx workflows. So when you click on the scheduling button from the workflow page, you can see your options. You can give this schedule a name. You can run that only once. You can schedule some moment in the future to run that workflow. But in general, you're going to use the recurring option. You can select the frequency as hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. You can select those many options for you and for your workflow. Or you can make it a custom schedule based on the day of the month or months of the year. You can schedule that to run on a specific schedule. Let us say, for example, at the end of each month after financial close. And you can specify a start and end date. You have a few more options to schedule your workflow. For example, you can select the priority for that workflow, or if you're working with in a multi-node environment, you can assign a specific node and a specific machine to run your workflow. The next method to automate your workflow is through APIs. So Alteryx Server provides APIs for different reasons, but one of the main reasons to use APIs is to automate your workflows executions. So why APIs? First, you have this multiple platform integration without human interaction. You can integrate that with your system. Different systems can trigger Alteryx and collect the results of those executions. You can use orchestration tools or third-party job scheduling tools as well. And you can also use the APIs to chain workflows execution within Alteryx Server. There are a few other reasons why you can use gallery APIs. For example, you can use Alteryx Server as the backend of your web page or your BI dashboard to run specific analysis. You can also work with the server governance through APIs, and you can also use those to migrate workflows between environments from dev to prod, for example. Let me show you one example of those APIs. You have different endpoints, and you can work with all of those to actually run your workflow. So, for example, you're going to need the app ID, the ID of your workflow. You can input files to the server prior to the execution, and you can also pick specific credentials that were provided for you from the Alteryx server. You can use all of those and also pass the questions to your workflow, and then you trigger the execution, you monitor that execution to the end, and then you get your results. The third main reason why people use Alteryx Server is because they want to grow their usage, and they're thinking about scalability. Let us take a look at the reasons for scalability. The first one is performance demand. You want to decrease the execution times and queuing times for workflows. Basically, you want Alteryx Server to run faster, or you have more demand and you want to address that. The second reason why you're going to scale Alteryx Server is because you have additional web users. So as the demand for the Alteryx gallery grows, you can address that, you can increase the web performance. And the third reason why is because you want to provide redundancy for specific components of the Alteryx architecture, and you also want to provide high availability for your environment, especially if you have mission-critical workflows. And let us take a look at that scalability. So Alteryx Server has different components for different tasks within the server. You have the scheduler, you have the gallery as the web interface, you have the worker, which is the Alteryx engine, you have the persistence layer, which is the database that will have all the configurations, the metadata from your environment, in the controller managing this machine. Then, as the demand grows, you can add more workers to handle more workflows or heavier workflows. You can also create database replicas, so you have high availability for this environment, and you can also add more gallery nodes for that web performance. So basically, you can scale up Alteryx Server, adding more resources as the number of cores, RAM, disk space, or you can scale out, adding more components in parallel into the server. Just to give you an idea on how these environments usually grow, you can have the small deployment with only one machine. In general, you're going to need more computing power. You're going to add workers here. Then you're going to think about the high availability with the replica for the MongoDB, for the persistent layer. And then you can also have more nodes to handle the web demand for the Alteryx gallery, for the Alteryx web pages. This table will give you an overview on how you're gonna scale depending on your needs. So if the workflow execution times increase, you're gonna need more workers. Also, if you have a lot of workflows, a lot of jobs schedule running in the background, you're gonna need more workers for that. Or if the workflows sit in the queue for long periods of time, all those three demands we can handle with more workers. If you have more users, they're running more workflows, you're going to need more workers, but you're also going to need more gallery nodes. And if you're thinking about redundancy and high availability, you also need to provide more database nodes. And that's the overview of the scalability for Alteryx Server. And the fourth main reason why you should use Alteryx Server is the governance and also management of the environment. At the Alteryx Server, you can have diagnostics. You can monitor Alteryx Server to understand the usage and identify bottlenecks. And then, for example, you can think about scalability, as we mentioned before. You can manage the environment. You can manage user roles, groups, studios, collections, districts, and you can also control data access. You can manage data connections in a centralized way at the Alteryx Server. You can control credentials for workflow executions and access to the whole environment. When we think about diagnostics, first we have this dashboard from the server where you can see how many apps, users, assets in general that you have at the server, and you can also see the hardware performance, the recent hardware performance, CPU and memory. Alteryx also provides a workflow. You can use an Alteryx workflow to analyze the Alteryx environment. That's the usage report. This workflow is going to read all the server logs and create a report in PDF, or you can also upload that to the Tableau server. There's a template of the usage report for Tableau. And we also have the schedule forecast. We can see in a calendar with the dates and time slots, you can see how many jobs you have at different moments. We can also filter those schedules by the name, by the user, or specifically by the duration to understand the heavier workflows. You can pick them by the recurrency or priority. And at any of those time slots, you can see how many jobs you have and identify those bottlenecks. For example, if you configure your server to have 2 concurrent workflows at any moment, it means that every 30 minutes, you actually have 6 minutes of executions available. But then if you have 6 jobs with a runtime total of 30 minutes, that means you're only using half of that capacity. And we're talking only about schedules. We're not thinking about this ad hoc usage of the server. And that's why at this point we have half of the usage of the server, but then we have all those shades of blue. And we can take a look at the darker blue, which means we need more time for those executions. You can reschedule those, maybe optimize the workflow, or schedule or scale your environment. At the Alteryx server, we can also have different user roles. The first one is the curator, that's the server admin. And we have the artisan, which is the Alteryx developer. He's going to build and upload the workflows to the server. You have the viewer, which is the person that's going to only run the workflows, and you can have someone without access. This will be temporary in general, but you can test the connectivity to the server, and then you can provide the right access, the right permissions in the future. At the Alteryx server, we also have centralized data connections. That's a way to manage the connections to the databases. You can share the connection without sharing the user and password, and you can share that with users and groups. The gallery connections are configured and shared by the gallery administrator or the curator. You just need to set up the same drivers and the same connections from the developer machine and also the server machine. And then when you connect to the server, you can download those connections based on your permissions, and you can use those at the Alteryx Designer. That's an overview of the connections. You can see all the data connections at the server gallery. And when you select one of those, you can add users to run or to use those connections. At the Alteryx server, we also have credentials. You can set up specific users and passwords, and you can store those at the server and then provide those to users so they can run workflows with different credentials. This way, they would have access to file folders or database connections within the workflow. They won't know the password, but they can use those credentials for particular executions. You can just add the credentials and then share those credentials with specific users. So we had all those 4 main reasons why we should use Alteryx Server. You can collaborate with the same workflows and share those workflows with different groups. You can automate, you can schedule your workflows at the server or trigger them with APIs. You can scale this environment to have more workflows and more users at the same moment, and we can govern this environment as well. Administer the environment, manage users, and control data access. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it insightful and exciting. If you enjoyed this video, please also follow Data Meaning on LinkedIn and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more free content. Let us know if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. Please contact us directly at sales@datameaning.com to learn more about how we can help you power your organization with Alteryx. Thanks again for watching.